Everybody knows the good guys lost. Everybody knows the fight was fixed. The poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it goes.
Okay, next up we have a very, very interesting speaker. He is the leader, the head of We Are Change, Florida, a true political activist. And this is a guy that truly has Madison or Jefferson's spirit. So with no further ado, here's Joshua Parrish.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to first thank each and every one of you for making it out here today. Our numbers may be small, but we need to understand that we represent a fraction of a nationwide awakening and growing to tyranny, to corruption in our government. The last few months, we have seen lots of media coverage of a growing grassroots movement to put an end to the out-of-control spending in Washington. What we have not seen from the mainstream media is a clear identification of the root cause of this issue, our monetary system and its domination by a plank of the Communist Manifesto, a private central bank, the Federal Reserve. For those of you who are not aware, the Federal Reserve is a private, run-for-profit banking cartel. It is completely illegitimate, completely unconstitutional, and completely criminal, ladies and gentlemen. Historically, our founding fathers, from Jefferson to Madison to Jackson, have always been opposed to central banks and have warned us of their dangers. Since many of us have gathered here today with the intent to take a constitutional oath or reaffirm a constitutional oath, I think it is only fitting to open with a quote from the father of the Constitution, James Madison. I quote, "History records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling money and its issuance." On December the 23rd of 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed, taking the power away from the American people and putting it in the hands of a private international banking cartel, ladies and gentlemen. At the time of the passing of this bill, there were many dissenting voices from the halls of Congress, but none more outspoken than the Congressman Louis T. McFadden. I quote, "The Federal Reserve banks are one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever seen. There is not a man within the sound of my voice who does not know that this nation is run by the international bankers." We can also look at the quotes of Congressman Charles Lindbergh Sr., who said in Congress, "From now on, depressions will be scientifically created." I ask you, are we seeing an engineered depression right now? Are we seeing a consolidation of the banking interests, the oil barons coming in and buying up all the corporations for pennies on the dollar as they continue to print up billions and trillions of dollars, inflating us? Finally, a quote from President Woodrow Wilson in regards to his help in the creation of the Federal Reserve. I quote, "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is now controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men." I ask you, what has changed? How have we come from a nation saturated with voices of dissent and defiance to greed and corruption to a nation of complicit slaves who continue to elect the same crooked politicians? Now, in spite of unprecedented opposition of we the people, leadership in both political parties have marched us into a $14.8+ trillion debt due to the federal bailouts. $14.8 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. That is approaching the GDP of our once great nation. This is tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. This is why revolutions are started. Many of our representatives, according to California Congressman Brad Sherman, were even threatened with martial law if they refused to comply with the demands of the bankers, of Wall Street, and of leadership in both political parties. And I've got news for you. As we stand here today, American patriots from every walk of life are uniting in cities all over the country under a banner of freedom and liberty. A concept that is bigger than Democrat, bigger than Republican. We the people will no longer sit idly by and watch our republic be destroyed. Each day, more and more Americans are discovering the true culprit of the current financial terrorism being carried out against our republic. And now, Ron Paul's Federal Reserve Transparency Act, H.R. 1207, has 175 co-sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. 175 co-sponsors.